Bovine tuberculosis is an important disease affecting the UK cattle industry, with the annual cost of managing TB in cattle approaching £100 million a year. Controlling infection of cattle with TB is made more difficult due to the presence of a wildlife host, the Eurasian badger. One major strategy used to try and decrease the risk of infection of cattle by TB is culling of badgers. A review published in 1997 implicated badgers in the transmission of TB to cattle and concluded there was compelling evidence that badgers act as a wild reservoir for the disease, reintroducing it when it's at low levels or thought to be wiped out. This led to a trial of badger culling between 1998 and 2007 to try and reduce TB in cattle. Results published of this trial by the Independent Science Group showed that badgers contribute considerably to the disease occurring in cattle, and that there is a cycle of infection between the two. It suggested that culling of badgers is highly likely to reduce incidence of TB within the culled area if it's at least 141 kilometres squared. However, costs of culling at this scale are considered too large to justify the likely economic benefits. Also, badgers in culled areas tend to travel further, increasing infection risk for the area 2 kilometres outside the culled area than if no culling had taken place. This suggests localised badger culling can actually have significantly negative effects, not on the land in which the culling takes place, but on adjoining lands and farms. More recently, though, a computational model of TB has been developed and used to explore the effects of different control strategies for TB spread, as well as the effects of other factors, such as cattle movements, rates of transmission within and between badgers and cattle, farm sizes, and winter housing. The tests using this model concluded that culling of badgers does seem to lower incidence of TB, but it's not capable of eradicating it. It showed that frequent testing of cattle removed TB more quickly, and that this was equally true whether or not badgers were culled. There was almost no difference in the number of infected cattle with or without badger culling, so long as there was frequent testing of cattle. However, it is important to remember that the standard test used to detect TB in cattle is only 80% effective, meaning that for every 10 cows infected with TB, only 8 will be detected. This is why many cows with TB are often only detected at slaughter, and why more frequent testing of cattle is so important. Winter housing, where cattle are kept in close and cramped conditions, also contributes significantly to infection risk, potentially doubling the number of infected cows if it's used. Two other important variables in TB spread that are not widely researched is cattle to badger and badger to cattle infection rates. The report suggests that the next line of research on this subject should involve experimental field studies, either in situ or in labs, to quantify the infection rates between cattle and badgers, and local trapping experiments to provide geographic variation of the percentage of infected badgers. In light of all the evidence and the latest research, I do not believe badger culling is the solution to controlling TB in cattle. Culling badgers may even increase the spread of TB due to the increased movement of badgers in culled areas. And recent study suggests that culling of badgers has little or no effect if regular testing of cattle for TB is carried out.